A good woman's value is never measured by the one who failed to see it. It's measured by the strength she discovers when she finally sees it herself. Too often, women hand over the keys to their worth to someone else, allowing another person's actions, words, or decisions to define their value. But the truth is, no man, no relationship, no heartbreak has the authority to determine your worth. That power belongs only to you. When someone walks away, when someone betrays you, when someone fails to see your light, the natural instinct is to wonder what you did wrong. You replay conversations, analyze your actions, and search for answers in places that will never give you closure. But here's the reality: their blindness does not mean your light stopped shining. Their inability to recognize your value does not make you less valuable. You don't become less of a good woman because someone lacked the vision to see you for who you are. You remain whole, you remain powerful, and you remain priceless. The most dangerous mistake you can make is allowing rejection to become reflection. Rejection says, "You're not wanted by this person." Reflection, however, should remind you, you are still wanted by life, by the world, and by your own destiny. The end of a relationship does not diminish your purpose. It does not erase your beauty. It does not silence your worth. If anything, it clears the path for you to step into a version of yourself that was waiting all along. Self-worth is not something you ask for. It is something you claim. And when you finally decide that your worth is not up for debate, everything changes. You stop begging for love, you stop chasing validation, you stop lowering your standards for someone who cannot meet them. You begin to stand taller, speak louder, and move with a confidence that cannot be shaken. And in that strength, something powerful happens. The one who lost you begins to see what they will never have again. The regret they feel does not come from your words, it comes from your silence. It does not come from you proving your value, it comes from you living your value. When you rise above the pain and start building yourself, when you walk into rooms glowing with self-respect, when you begin to attract opportunities and people who recognize your worth immediately, that is when the realization hits them. They lost more than a woman, they lost a force, but the real reward is not in making someone else regret. The real reward is in becoming someone you are proud of. Because the moment you begin to see yourself clearly, you no longer care about who didn't. You no longer shrink yourself to fit into the spaces someone else made small. You no longer apologize for being too much or too strong or too ambitious. You embrace it, you live it. You wear your worth like armor, and suddenly, the pain that once broke you becomes the fuel that drives you. A good woman's strength is unmatched when she recognizes that she is not defined by who left, but by who she is becoming. She learns that her value does not decrease when someone fails to hold on to it. She understands that her heart, her kindness, her loyalty are gifts, and gifts don't lose their value when placed in unworthy hands. They simply return to the giver, stronger than before, waiting to be offered to someone who will never let them go. You see, the reason self-worth is so powerful is because it creates unshakable freedom. When you know who you are no longer afraid of being alone. You are no longer desperate to be chosen. You are no longer willing to settle for half love or half effort. Instead, you walk with the knowledge that being alone is better than being with someone who doesn't value you. And that knowledge radiates as strength, as independence, as undeniable confidence. It's in that moment, when you no longer need validation, that life begins to elevate you. Opportunities come, doors open, people who match your energy are drawn to you. And the one who once overlooked you watches from a distance, realizing too late that they underestimated you. But by then, you are untouchable. You've grown beyond needing their recognition. You've stepped into a higher version of yourself where regret belongs to them, not you. Think about it. Every time you rise from heartbreak, you become stronger. Every time you pick yourself up after disappointment, you become wiser. Every time you look in the mirror and remind yourself that you are enough, you become more unshakable. That is the beauty of self-worth. It is built in the moments when you refuse to let someone else's blindness make you question your brilliance. It is built in the moments when you choose to love yourself louder than you loved anyone who failed to value you. A good woman who knows her worth does not chase. She does not beg. She does not cry for someone to see what they've already missed. She simply becomes. She becomes more focused, more radiant, more magnetic. She pours her energy into her dreams, her goals, her growth. And as she becomes, she transforms. And as she transforms, the world takes notice. The very same people who doubted her begin to whisper, "I should have stayed. I should have seen. I should have held on. That is the regret she inspires, not because she demanded it, but because she embodied it. When you know your worth, you stop settling for apologies that come too late. You stop reopening doors that should stay closed. You stop giving second chances to people who never deserved the first. You realize that love should not have to hurt, loyalty should not have to be begged for, and respect should not have to be earned, it should be given freely. And if it is not, you walk away, not with anger, not with bitterness, but with dignity, because you know that walking away from someone who undervalued you is not a loss, it is a victory, the day you stop asking, why wasn't I enough, and start declaring, I am more than enough. Is the day you step into your true power, and that power is magnetic. It cannot be ignored, it cannot be denied, it cannot be dimmed by anyone's failure to see it. That power makes you glow in a way that no heartbreak could ever extinguish. And in that glow, you realize something extraordinary. You never needed anyone to validate you in the first place. So if you walked away, let him. If he couldn't see your value, that's his blindness, not your reflection. If he regrets it later, let him carry that regret. Your task is not to make him see. It is to make yourself unstoppable, and when you do, you will realize the greatest revenge was never in making him regret. The greatest revenge was in making yourself proud. The sweetest way to make him regret losing you is not with words, not with tears, not with pleading or proving. It is with a life so extraordinary that it speaks for itself. The kind of life that doesn't need explanation, doesn't need defense, and doesn't need validation. Success is the loudest revenge, because nothing silences doubt, betrayal, or underestimation more powerfully than watching someone you once took for granted soar without you. When you pour your energy into chasing someone who has already let you go, you waste your strength. When you stay stuck in the pain of rejection, you hand over your power. But when you redirect that energy into building yourself, into focusing on your growth, into creating a life you are proud of, you transform pain into fuel, and that transformation is unstoppable. It's not about making him jealous. It's about making yourself so fulfilled, so empowered, so radiant, that jealousy becomes inevitable. There's a truth many forget. A good woman is irreplaceable. You don't just lose her love, you lose her loyalty, her encouragement, her vision, her patience, her laughter, and her ability to believe in you when no one else would. But when she takes all of that back and invests it into herself, she becomes unstoppable. She builds a foundation so strong that regret becomes the only thing left for the one who walked away. The power of success as revenge is that it doesn't require confrontation. You don't need to argue. You don't need to beg someone to realize what they've lost. You don't need to waste your breath proving your worth to someone who could not recognize it in the first place. All you need to do is rise. All you need to do is focus on your path, your growth, your glow. Success is silent, but it's deafening to those who doubted you. Imagine this. He once thought you needed him. He once thought you couldn't stand without him, couldn't shine without his presence. But now he sees you thriving. He sees you becoming stronger, more radiant, more powerful with every passing day. He sees you succeeding in your career, your dreams, your goals. He sees you living life on your terms, unapologetic, confident, and unshakable. And in that moment, the regret sets in, not because of what you said, but because of what you became. The greatest revenge is not destruction, it is elevation. It is rising so high that you no longer have time to look back at those who underestimated you. It is stepping into rooms you never imagined, achieving milestones you once thought were impossible, and realizing you no longer even think of him when you celebrate your wins. That's the kind of revenge that matters, because it proves something important. You were never defined by who left. You were defined by what you built after they left. There will be nights when the pain feels heavy, when the loss feels unbearable, when the silence echoes louder than words. Those are the nights you must remember that success is built in the dark. Success is forged in those private battles, in those lonely moments when you decide to get up, to keep moving, to keep fighting. Success doesn't start when the world applauds you. It starts when you choose yourself over the heartbreak, again and again. The best part is, success is not just about wealth, status, or recognition. It is about peace. It is about freedom. It is about looking in the mirror and being proud of the woman staring back at you. It is about building a life that feels good on the inside, not just one that looks good on the outside. That is the kind of success that makes anyone who doubted you regret, because they realize they didn't just lose a partner, They lost someone who grew into a whole universe of strength and possibility. There's something magnetic about a woman who rises after heartbreak. Her energy changes, her walk changes, her voice carries a different weight. She stops waiting for permission. She stops apologizing for her ambition. She stops dimming her light for someone who couldn't handle the brightness, and suddenly she becomes undeniable. She becomes the type of woman people look at and say, she doesn't need anyone, she chooses who deserves her. That transformation is the ultimate revenge. Think about it, if you spend your time trying to prove yourself to him, you remain stuck in his shadow. But if you spend your time proving yourself to you, you outgrow the shadow completely. He may regret, he may remember, he may even try to come back. But by then you will be so far ahead, so focused on your own greatness, that his regret will not matter. Your success will have made the statement for you. Success speaks a language that everyone understands. It says, I survived, I thrived, I became. It says, your rejection did not break me, it built me. It says, you thought I would fall, but I rose higher than ever before. That is the language of power, the language of resilience, the language of self-worth, and it doesn't require you to shout it from the rooftops. It shows in your results, in your glow, in the life you create. Never forget this, the greatest closure is not in the apology you never got. It's not in the explanation you waited for. The greatest closure is in success. It's in living a life that makes you smile, makes you proud, makes you feel whole. That kind of closure doesn't come from him, it comes from you. And once you taste it, you'll never again waste energy on proving anything to anyone. Every setback, every heartbreak, every rejection carries a hidden gift. The gift is fuel, the gift is hunger, the gift is the push you needed to become everything you were meant to be. That is why so many women who are underestimated rise to extraordinary heights, because pain, when used correctly, becomes power. Loss, when used correctly, becomes leverage, and regret, when it finally arrives, belongs to the one who let you go, not the one who rose after. Success is the loudest revenge because it outlasts anger. Anger fades, arguments fade, even memories fade, but success leaves a mark. Success writes your story in a way that cannot be erased. Success is the legacy you leave behind, the proof that you turned heartbreak into a stepping stone, the evidence that you chose to become more instead of becoming bitter, and no one, not even the one who let you go, and take that from you. So build yourself, build your dreams, build your empire, whatever that looks like for you. It could be your career, your health, your peace, your happiness. Build it with everything inside you. Because every brick you lay is not just a step toward your own greatness. It is a reminder to the world that you cannot be broken. And every time you rise higher, the echo of regret grows louder in the mind of the one who underestimated you. But here's the secret. By the time that regret comes, you won't even be listening. You'll be too busy celebrating the life you built, the woman you became, and the strength you uncovered. You'll realize the revenge was never really about him. It was always about you. It was about proving to yourself that you are more powerful than heartbreak, more resilient than rejection, more valuable than any man's failure to see you. The day you stop trying to make him regret losing you and start focusing on becoming the best version of yourself, you win. And in that win, the regret will come naturally, not because you demanded it, but because success left him no choice. That is the power of rising. That is the power of success. And that is the power of a woman who refuses to be defined by anyone else's blindness. When someone loses a good woman, the truth is, the greater loss is never hers. It is his. Because while he loses loyalty, love, and the rare strength of someone who gave with all her heart, she gains something priceless. She gains freedom, clarity, and the chance to rise higher than ever before. A good woman never truly loses, because even when her heart is broken, her spirit learns to fly. Even when she walks away, she walks into her own power. Even when she's left behind, she rises above. There is a beauty in resilience that no one can take away. When a woman has poured herself into love, invested her soul, given her patience, stood by someone through storms and struggles, and yet finds herself abandoned or unappreciated, she may feel pain in the moment, but that pain is not her ending. That pain becomes the soil in which her greatness grows. The very heartbreak meant to break her becomes the reason she discovers her strength, and that is why she never loses. She evolves. The world often underestimates a woman's power to rise. It assumes that heartbreak will destroy her, that rejection will silence her, that being left will define her. But time and again, women prove the opposite. They rise from ashes. They create beauty out of brokenness. They step out of shadows and become light. What seemed like a loss turns into liberation. What seemed like the end becomes the beginning, and the very person who thought she would crumble is forced to watch her transform into someone unstoppable. This is the thing about a good woman. Her strength is not loud, but it is unshakable. She may cry, she may bend, she may break for a moment, but she will always rise, because she carries within her the power of renewal. She knows how to start over, how to rebuild, how to turn scars into wisdom. She understands that love may be given and lost, but her worth was never tied to who stayed or who left. Her worth is rooted deep within her soul, and no one can strip that away. For the one who walked away, regret will always arrive. Regret comes when he realizes he didn't just lose someone to hold his hand. He lost someone who held him up. He lost the woman who believed in him when he didn't believe in himself. He lost her loyalty, her laughter, her vision. He lost the rare kind of love that is not easily found twice. And while he drowns in regret, she rises in freedom, because now, without the weight of carrying someone who couldn't value her, she can fully invest in herself. And here is where the transformation happens. A good woman who has been hurt becomes more focused, more powerful, more determined. She channels her energy into building, into healing, into creating. She realizes she doesn't need validation. She doesn't need approval. She doesn't need to prove her worth to anyone. She begins to live for herself, unapologetically, and that kind of woman cannot be stopped. That kind of woman becomes a force the world cannot ignore. The truth is, she never really loses, because even when she loses love, she gains strength. Even when she loses companionship, she gains independence. Even when she loses what she thought was her future, she gains the chance to rewrite her story. Every ending plants the seed of a new beginning, and a good woman knows how to nurture that seed into something extraordinary. There is no revenge stronger than rising, not revenge fueled by bitterness, but revenge born from growth. Rising means she no longer wastes energy on what was lost. Rising means she no longer looks back with longing, but forward with vision. Rising means she discovers that her happiness was never tied to anyone else. It was always hers to create. And when she rises like that, regret becomes his burden, not hers. The greatest lesson she learns is that her value does not decrease because someone failed to see it. A diamond remains a diamond, whether it is admired or ignored. A flame still burns whether someone warms their hands by it or walks away. Her love, her loyalty, her essence were treasures, and if he could not recognize them, the loss is entirely his, but she never loses. Because she carries those treasures with her as she rises into a life where they will be honored. Imagine her future. She becomes more radiant than before. She steps into opportunities she once thought were out of reach. She builds friendships, dreams, businesses, or families that reflect her worth. She stands taller, laughs louder, loves herself deeper. And as she evolves, as she flourishes, the memory of her absence grows heavier for the one who let her slip away. Regret will sit with him like a shadow, but she will shine so brightly that she never notices. This is why a good woman never loses, because while heartbreak might strip away illusions, it never strips away her essence. She may lose a relationship, but she gains herself. She may lose someone who promised forever, but she gains the truth that forever begins within. She may lose comfort, but she gains courage, and those gains outweigh every loss. They elevate her, empower her, and carry her into a destiny greater than she imagined. A good woman is like the tide. She may recede, she may pull back, but she always returns stronger. She may be underestimated, but she is never defeated. She may walk away, but she walks into something greater. Her story is not written by who left, it is written by how she rises. And when she rises, she writes chapters of triumph, resilience, and unshakable grace. So understand this clearly, she never loses. She may hurt, she may grieve, she may stumble, but she will always rise, because her spirit was not made to be broken, it was made to transform. Her love was not wasted, it was a reflection of her capacity to give.